Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gauda Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, First Canto, Chapter 1, Text 8. The chapter entitled Questions by the Sages. Vetatvan samyatat sarvam Tatvatastad anugrahat Bruyu snigdhasya shyasya Guravo guyam apyata Vetatvan samyatat sarvam Tatvatastad anugrahat Bruyu snigdhasya shishyasya Guravo guyam apyata Vetatvan saumya tatsarvan Tatvatastad anugrahat Bruya snigdhasya shishyasya Guravo guyam apyata. Please. Vedatvam saumya tatsarvam Tatvatastad anugrahat Bruyasnigdhasya Shishyasya Guravo Guyam Apyuta Vaishnavi Vetatvam Samya Tatsarvam Tatvatastad anugrahat Bruyasnigdhasya Shishyasya Guravo Guyam Apyuta Veta You conversant Tvam Your honor Samya one who is pure and simple. Tat, those. Some, all. Tatvataha, fact. Tat, there. Anugrahat, by the favor of. Bhuyahu, will tell. Snigdhasya, of the one who is submissive. Shishyasya, of the disciple. Guravaha, the spiritual masters. Guhyam, secret. Api uta, endowed with. Translation Court by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from. Purport. The secret of success in spiritual life is in satisfying the spiritual master and thereby getting his sincere blessings. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has sung in his famous 8 stanzas on the spiritual master as follows. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Only by his satisfaction can one please the personality of Godhead. And when he is dissatisfied, there is only havoc on the path of spiritual realization. It is essential, therefore, that a disciple be very much obedient and submissive to the bona fide spiritual master. Srila Sutta Goswami fulfilled all these qualifications as a disciple, and therefore he was endowed with all favors by his learned and self-realized spiritual masters, such as Srila Vyasadeva and others. The sages of Naimisharanya were confident that Srila Goswami was bona fide. Therefore, they were anxious to hear from him. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Ananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhacha patidanan pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Translation once more. And because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Or you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. So in the this is right at the outset, setting the stage. The sages of Naimisharanya are glorifying Sutta Goswami and begging him to speak Bhagavatam as he had heard it sitting at the lotus feet of his guru, Dev Goswami. And he is very enthusiastic to share what he's learned. But as Sachinandan Maharaj says, he also matches the energy audience. If the audience is excited to hear, he's much more excited to share. Who wants to share with like a brick wall, right? So there's a certain energy that's being created that's setting the tone and creating an eagerness. A similar thing happens in the Bhagavad Gita when we see the stage is set for the Bhagavad Gita. There's so much drama and so much energy, and the stakes are very high for Arjuna that he really needs to hear. There's no question about, yeah, maybe I'll go to Bhagavatam class today, maybe I won't, or I'll go, but yeah, it's another day. So there's a certain eagerness that is very palpable in the audience, and Sutta Goswami is getting energized by that. He's already energized from his own realization, but then it gets heightened. And the whole mission here is not only to enlighten the masses of sages at Naimisharanya, but to perform a 10,000-year yajna sacrifice that will benefit of us sitting here today in Kali Yuga as this age degrades, our spiritual qualifications lessen and lessen and lessen, our inclinations lessen and lessen and lessen. The blessings of those who precede us, they actually follow us and can serve us in very powerful ways. So this was their intention. It was totally selfless. Let me become realized and let me offer that grace to those who after us. They will need it. We need it. And when I first came across this verse, I was very struck by it. Well, I wouldn't say when I first came across it. When I first really noticed it, that's more accurate. I'd read it, but you know what it's like to read something versus to really key in, oh, there's something striking here, a different experience. So the first time I really noticed this verse, I found the word Saumya to be very challenging and alluring. Saumya, Prabhupada defines as simple and pure. In the translation, it says gentle. A gentle disciple, Shishya, Saumya Shishya. And I was thinking, I want to be like that, but I'm not like that. But I want. So let me try. And that became a meditation for me in my spiritual life. This goes back to 2008, probably 2008, when I was in the Brahmari ashram, somewhere around that time. I was young in my macharya in New York City, and I thought, this is a really good model for me to follow. And I tried to keep it in my heart as a thing for my spiritual life. Which brings us to the subject for today, the spiritual journey from the perspective of a disciple. Sachinandan Maharaj had asked for this to be the subject, so I pray that this will address it and please him and please all of you in so doing. The spiritual journey from the perspective of a disciple. So what is that journey? What is the spiritual journey? I would love to hear any thought on that. What are we talking about?
Journey of self-realization.
Yeah, and what does that mean?
Realizing that you are eternal servant of Krishna.
Beautiful. Yeah, realizing that we're eternal servants of Krishna and we're connected with the Guru. That's self-realization. Yeah, Mandaleshmi. To lose all of our attachments. To lose our attachments and misconceptions around I, and then that has to do us with something, hopefully. If we just lose them and there's nothing there, that would be it. Therefore, it pairs nicely with Bhagavad Dharma Prabhu's. Yeah. Wow, there are a lot of hands. Just take a couple. Hare Sham Prabhu.
The traditional definition would be the stages of Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, and ultimately that is the standard sort of journey for every sadhaka. into your world.
You expressed exactly what I had in my mind. Yes, thank you. From Shraddha to Prema, that is really our journey. It's from the initial stage of interest. There may be something here, there's some here, or some benefit for me, all the way to pure love of God, realizing that we're eternal servants of Krishna and experiencing ourselves as such, and not experiencing ourselves with the eye that we currently have. This incarnation is not the real Hari Prasad. That's what we have to come to. That's what I have to come to. So it's a journey, and it's mapped out beautifully by our acharyas, that it's really scientific. Each stage is characterized by another development. And there's so much that can be said about that, but that is the journey that we're talking about. So we're all on the same page here. Now, what is a disciple? What does it mean to be a disciple? Clarifying our terms. Yes, Ananteshwar Prabhu.
Comes from the word discipline. So disciple means to be disciplined under the instructions of spiritual master.
Excellent. Disciple means to be disciplined under the instructions of the spiritual master. Yeah. Prabhupada would often say disciple means discipline. We have to be guided, and we have to be a little bit regulated, managed by someone who is self-regulated, who has been regulated and managed by their guru, and now has internalized that, is able to self-regulate and can offer that to others. So disciple means to be disciplined by one's guru, one's teacher. Anything else that you would want to add briefly to disciple? Clear. Great. So then, what is the perspective? This is the spiritual journey from a perspective of a disciple. What is that perspective? How does that play? What is your name, Prabhu? Lukesh, Prabhu, please.
To surrender ourselves.
To surrender ourselves. That's the perspective? Okay. Yes, what is your name, Prabhu? Bhava Sindhu, Prabhu, please.
So in the journey also entails self-development and change. So disciple has to be change.
The journey entails self-development and change. The disciple has to be willing to change. Yeah. And so the perspective that we're talking about, what is that perspective? What does perspective even mean? Yeah, Tishta Krishna Prabhu. Not knowing. Say more about that.
The disciple follows the guru voluntarily and assuming this devotee knows more.
Wonderful. Yes, the sadhaka follows someone who is along, follows the guru, so that we can trust what they have and bring that into our hearts. That's exactly what I wanted to share, that what other perspective could there be than that of the guru has realized what we're aiming to realize. We need the perspective or the vision of the person that we are being disciplined by. And how does that perspective come? That is the real question for today. How does that perspective of the guru for this spiritual journey come? We saw in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says the blessings of the spiritual master are required. And he also says sincere blessings. Why does he say sincere blessings? Because we go to the guru sometimes and we say, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, would you please bless me? I want to get this job and I think it'll be really good for me. And could you please bless me?" Yes, yes, tatashtu, may it be so. But it's not bad to do that. Of course, we want those blessings. But what is going to really please the spiritual master? What is going to make those blessings have a certain force that carries us more than our own individual efforts, and even more than more casual blessings, perhaps? That's what we're interested in. Vinod Kavita Prabhu?
When there's surrender and desire to please.
When there's surrender and desire to please. Sachinandan Maharaj told me, I think this was in 2015 at Gaur Bhavan where he stays. I asked him, do you have any instruction for me personally, because I'd come to stay with him to do some editing seva for a couple of weeks at least. And this was somehow the only time in my life that I mustered up the courage to ask him this question, something about the context of just staying there day in and day out, serve him, and really nothing else going on but my seva to him. Well, before I was leaving, is there anything that you want from me, any instruction? And he's given me countless instructions, but that was just the first time that I really asked so pointedly like that. And he said, just one thing, your plan, not mine. Your plan, not, of course, referring to Krishna. And wow, that is the toughest instruction. Surrender, surrender. I was experiencing the difficulty of that last night when I was thinking, I am really going to lose my sleep, and with that, perhaps my health. I'm used to that happening when I don't sleep enough. And Radha and Krishna, what do you want? Is that what you want from me? It's so difficult. Your plan, not mine. How will I chant my rounds very nicely in the midst of this festival? It's so difficult. What is your plan? I don't even know what your plan is to be able to follow it. It's very difficult. So surrender is not a small, quite a challenge, the challenge of a lifetime. Sarva dharman tyajya mamekam sharanan vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaya shami ma shuchaha. The final instruction to Arjuna, the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita is this: surrender, abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Sometimes I think the hardest part is the not fearing. I'm forced to surrender a lot. It's not the full surrender. Forced, of course. But I do feel like it helps me to advance that I'm being forced. Otherwise, Krishna wouldn't do it. But the do not fear part, whew, I really need mercy for that. So the understanding is that the Guru gives the mercy, gives the blessings. And when those blessings are very sincere, we can be carried. It's like Satyananda Maharaj was speaking last night. We grab the rope and we feel we're being pulled out of our well of material nescience, ignorance, avidya. And therefore, the Guru is everything. Really, the Guru is everything. If the Guru is giving this rope and there's no other way to get it, which there isn't, according to Shastra, Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan nagati kutopi, no other way. If the Guru is not pleased, there is no other way. And Prabhupada references that. If the Guru is pleased, you will fly, soar in your spiritual life. It may not always feel fun because gaining that altitude can be rocky, it can be difficult, but it will work and it will be more than worth it. So the Guru has to really be everything for us, and to get their blessings is the goal of our life. Prabhupada calls that the secret of success. And we'll come back to that in a moment. But how would we get blessings? What will really gain the blessings? Of course, we were talking about surrender, but what does that amount to in the Guru-disciple relationship? Mandashini? Eagerness and trust. Okay, very good. Eagerness and trust, indeed. What role is the Guru playing for us?
The bridge between us and Krishna.
He's between us and Krishna. What is your name, Prabhu?
Jatan Madan.
Jayatan Madan Mohan Prabhu. He's a bridge between us and Krishna, yes. And how does he play that role? What is the role within that role? Yes, please remind your good name. Praneshwari Radha Devi. So good to see you. The Guru teaches us Hidaya, which is the process of devotional service, and therefore how to love Krishna. Yeah. So therefore, the Guru is teacher, right? And when we're often translating Guru into English, I mean, it's now an English word also, but we say teacher. And Satchidananda Maharaj has emphasized this very strongly. He's emphasized very that my primary role, the way that I see myself, is as a teacher in terms of the guru-disciple relationship. I have many different things that I do, but this is really the essence. So how do you best serve a teacher? I heard from Mandaleshwari Devi, eager and trust. Think a little bit more. When you have the role of a teacher, what most pleases you? I hear, wait, hold on. Casey. Really applying the teachings. Yes, that's it. And something was over here. Baba Sindhu Prabhu? Yeah. Attentiveness, attentive discipleship. Wonderful. Yes. So it's about how we hear, how we show up to hear. Maharaj was just sharing about the attitude adjustment he thinks we need. That's what this is about. So how do we really please the teacher is by showing up to hear eagerly and apply the teachings. If we think, I'm often saying this, if we think, yeah, it's so nice that our Maharaj is doing this, how nice. He's a very generous person. Good to have his teachings. If we think like that, it all wrong. We need his teachings. If we don't think we need them, we've got it all wrong. This is attitude adjustment. When you're hanging, you're in a well of ignorance, and there's no rope to pull you up, and you might stay there forever. You might die there. Are you thinking, nice if somebody threw me a rope? That would be great. That would be very generous of that person. We're not interested in that. We're thinking, give me the rope now. Give me the rope now. We even can throw out niceties. I need. When we enter into the guru-disciple relationship with that attitude, things happen. I need you. I need your teachings. I need to hear right now. If I don't, I'm going to remain stuck. Even if I'm somewhere grabbing the rope, if I don't climb up, if I don't get out, what was the point of the rope in the first place? There was no point. So, Shrutekshita Patho, there's a verse in the Bhagavatam 3:9-11 that references this term, Shrutekshita Patho. Satchidananda Maharaj also likes to reference this. It's the path of hearing. Patho is path, and Shrutekshita is hearing. It's seeing through the ears. That's what we're taught by Shastra, is we have to see through the ears, see the spiritual reality, see where our journey is at, where we're going, where the destination is. And Prabhupada also says, a sadhu is not seen but heard. I really appreciate this. A sadhu is not seen but heard, because their pure teachings are communicated through their speaking, their writing, whatever avenues they have to teach. And that is Shravanam, hearing. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, 15152 and 155, in the Rupa Shiksha, when Mahaprabhu is giving Rupa Goswami everything he needs, not only to become self-realized, as he already is, but is playing of a sadhaka, but to be able to offer self-realization to all of us. He gives him everything in a very condensed period, the Abhidheya, he's the Abhidharya, right? And what does he say? He emphasizes Shravana Kirtana Jale and Shravanadi Jala. Shravana Kirtana Jale, the water of hearing and chanting, Shravanadi Jala. Again, the water of hearing and the other processes. Shravana Kirtana. So it's all about hearing and chanting. And the one who is speaking is chanting, and then the one who is Hearing is chanting. So it all comes together. It's Shravana Kirtana, Shravana Kirtana, Shravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting. And what is that water? It makes the creeper of devotion, the Bhakti Lata, grow into a magnificent fruit-bearing vine that actually wraps itself around the lotus feet of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, all the way in the spiritual world, and bears the fruit of prema, pure love. So it's all through hearing the chanting of the Guru and then trying to internalize. And of course, the focus is on Nam. Our hearing is, Prabhupada said, I wrote all of these books just to convince you to chant. So the whole thing is about chanting. But how will we chant? Prabhupada would also say, how will you chant if you do not hear? What will you chant about? You'll have no inspiration. You'll be dry. This dryness comes from lack of hearing. The water is not being poured on. And when we hear in a dry way, we also remain dry. It's like pouring water not on the root, but just kind of haphazardly. So we really have to be intentional about how we show up in the guru-disciple relationship. And specifically, that means hearing. That means hearing, eagerness, and desire to apply to our life. So if we compare our general attitude, and of course everyone is in different places and we have our good days and our bad days, but if we compare generally our attitude to hearing with the sages at Naimisharanya, this can be very humbling. I find for myself, very humbling. They're really like, there's an electricity in the Bhagavatam. They're so much anticipating. Oh, we can get Bhagavatam. We can get self-realization. Prema is there for us. All we have to do is listen with our hearts. Listening with our heads is a different thing. We have to listen with our hearts, right? Prema is in the heart, not the head. The Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed of devotion, is planted in the heart, it said, Hridaya. Everything's the Hridaya Mandira. The temple of the heart, that's where it all resides. We should not forget this. If we think, well, I'm more of an intellectual, good, very good. Get to the heart. Be an intellectual, but get to the heart. Intelligence is meant to guide us to the heart. And I'm very struck by Srila Prabhupada's own relationship with hearing, his entry into the guru-disciple relationship. There was one particular moment when Bhaktisiddhanta noted to another disciple, referring to Srila Prabhupada, just a very simple thing, one sentence. He said, this boy likes to hear. This boy likes to hear. Says it all. Actually, the entire parampara invested in Srila Prabhupada of that one simple thing. This boy likes to hear. What if it were really that simple? What if that were the only thing standing in our way to self-realization? We like to hear. And what does it mean to really like to hear again? I need this. I need this. Prabhupada was never casual about his Krishna consciousness. He wasn't casual. And there's another verse that I really appreciate. In the third chapter of the first canto, it's text 44. O learned Brahmanas, when Shukadev Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention. This is Sutta Goswami sharing. I heard him with rapt attention, Shukadev. And thus, by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I have realized it. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned from him and have realized it. So the secret is here. Again, it is hearing. How? With rapt attention. And what gives somebody rapt attention? Why would you be rapt in attention? Urgency. Thank you, Japal Prabhu. When you feel there is urgency, everything else waits. The problem, why we're not eager to hear, there are too many other things. This is my problem in chanting. Oh, I have to manage my life so much. There's so much to be in anxiety about and so much to take care of. And then thankfully, it's now in Krishna's seva. That's my saving grace. But if I could be so much more, if I could put that aside and feel the urgency, like Maharaj sharing yesterday, when the cancer sentence came, said, I don't want to neglect my japa anymore. I don't want to neglect my chanting. Things changed for him. He said, he turned his life around. That's very powerful. I don't want that to be what we have to wait for. I am so scared. I was sharing this. I'm so scared that what if that's what has to come for me? I'm not so strong and courageous as Maharaj. I don't want it to come to that. And I want to make the most of every moment now. Time is too precious. That's as Chanakya Pandit's most precious thing in existence. Single moment. Why wait? What's the point? Why are we here in bhakti if we're just thinking, yeah, down the road, one day, I'll attain the goal. With that day will never come. How will the day come is now. Prabhupada also says this. He says, really being in bhakti means now. I want to realize Krishna now. Please don't make me wait. So this makes all the difference. There has to be that spirit of inquiry. How can I make advancement? There is no guru-disciple relationship. Inquiry. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. We inquire submissively and we render service unto the spiritual master. And how do we get the perspective of the guru? Who's tattva darshana, seer of the truth, seer of the divine reality? It's that. By serving and by inquiring submissively. And as we establish, the greatest service is hearing, wanting what they're giving. And we can see Sachinandan Maharaj's mood is so different according to how eager we are to hear from him. That's natural. That's how it is for a person. So this spirit is needed. Atato Brahma Jinyasa. Atato Brahma Jinyasa. The first verse of the Vedanta Sutra, Vyasadeva, is giving us the launching pad to self-realization, which then the Bhagavatam becomes the summary study or the commentary on, really. It's therefore submissively or inquire into the nature of the absolute truth. And yes, that also has to be submissive. So we have to have a desire to know Krishna, to know his world, to want to understand what does it take to be a part of that world? What is it like? In one of my favorite purports of all, Srila Prabhupada in 15:6 of the Gita, he says one should be captivated by information about the spiritual world. One should be captivated by information. I should want to hear more about this. Oh, there's no fire or electricity there, that it's a self-illuminated planet? That's fascinating. I haven't experienced that before. I want to know more. What else can you tell me? What else is it like? Oh, the Brahma Samhita gives us a whole darshan of the spiritual world. I should want to read that. I should want to keep that with me close to my heart. That's incredible. That's our home. Back home, back to Godhead. It's not a construct. It's a place. It's an actual place. And we can learn it and envision it and meditate on it and try to figure out, well, what does it take to become a resident? How do we fit into that world? That's what the Guru is disciplining us on. We don't fit right now. Otherwise, we would. We have to, we're so intent on fitting in this and getting an anxiety about how we don't fit in. I don't belong, I don't belong, I don't belong. You're right, we don't belong. And it is a source of anxiety. But the solution is not trying here. We have to figure out where we do fit in. It's not this place. So the Guru is training us to fit into the spiritual world. That's a major task. And we have to be so cooperative and eager in order for it to work, to make our guru's life easier, less pain, and to make our own life easier and less pain. That's required. So this is also what bonds us to our guru. This is the fulcrum of our relationship, is that eagerness. Why? Because the guru is also trying to figure out, how do I fit into that world? And hopefully has made incredible headway, if not made the full journey to now be fit to reside there. So because the guru is constantly fixed on that world and wanting to hear and be a part of it, there's no question of deep, intimate relationship if we're not on that same wavelength. That's what ties us together. And the guru becomes so excited when he sees that spark in us. He also likes to hear. Okay, blessings, sincere blessings, sincere blessings. Then the heart up and the blessings flow naturally. The guru doesn't have to think, I want to bless my disciple. I'm going to bless my disciple. It flows naturally. The attitude becomes the means for the blessing. You don't even have to ask for a blessing. It flows from the heart into the heart of the disciple. That bond, the fulcrum of our relationship. And so, if we were to boil it down to one thing, this entire journey, it is changing of our desires. That's what helps us fit into the spiritual world. And that was touched upon here. Changing our desires. In the spiritual world, one has one desire only, Krishna's pleasure. In the material world, we have many, many desires, right? The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. But vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahu shaka hyanantascha dhayo vyavasayanam. That one should be single-pointed in intelligence and attention. And this is an incredible, incredible instruction, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said is exactly in Srila Prabhupada's words, the secret of success in spiritual life. So when Prabhupada encountered Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this pivotal verse of the second chapter of the Gita, Prabhupada said this was the turning point for me. This flipped everything around. He said the secret of success is pleasing the spiritual master, fixing oneself single-pointedly on the guru. Guru is everything. Not guru is good. Guru is helpful. Thank you, Gurudev. Or guru is a lot. Guru means something to me. He's a lot for me. No, guru is everything. That's really what the path asks for if to make it the full journey. Of course, it doesn't come all at once. Shanai Shanai Rupara made gradually, step by step. Krishna says, I quote this verse in the 6th chapter, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. So our faith will help us take one step after another and reach the goal of trance, of realization, absorption in the spiritual world. One step at a time. We have to know what the goal is. And we have to counteract the desire to live in a comfortable place. And comfortable doesn't just this is not about physical austerities. This is about getting out of our egos. This is about the comfort of, I'm okay where I am. This is life, life is like that. And it's, by the way, it's Kali Yuga. So everybody's a little bit, downtrodden spiritually. I can continue to be downtrodden also. No, there has to be the eagerness. Okay, I'm downtrodden. Maybe, hopefully not everybody feels this way, but I definitely have my moments, many of them. Yes, I'm downtrodden, but I don't want to be. I am changing my desire. I'm changing my desire to be for Krishna. And that is everything. So that's the guru is constantly thinking Krishna's pleasure, Krishna's pleasure, Krishna's pleasure. To be connected to guru and to be connected to Krishna, that's it. Fitting into that world where everything revolves around his pleasure. I what Sachinandan Maharaj was teaching this Kartik, that three simple things. I mean, it's so simple that I was shocked at how much it impacted me, because we're used to hearing many of the same things, or like, yeah, I thought of that. But when something is coming from such a deep place, it doesn't matter whether we thought of it or not, it breaks through our false ego. Yeah, I knew that. That's the intellectual plane. That's not spiritual. Good if you knew something spiritual, nice, but what do we really want? Not just jnana. Jnana is a prerequisite for vijnana, realization. Realization is transmitted from the heart of the sadhu or the guru to the heart of the sadhaka or the disciple. And so he was sharing that three simple things. Just seek Krishna. See Krishna's hand behind everything, or Radha and Krishna, and then ask what will please them. That's it. Not so complicated, but very difficult. As Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple, complicated for the complicated. And for a very complicated person like myself, simple is difficult. It's very difficult, but so wonderful to be able to anchor things in those really clear terms. See Krishna, you have to want him. See Radha and Krishna's hand behind everything, and then ask what will please him. Wonderful. I've been trying to do that, and I see, wow, something works. I'm limited. I'm not so good, but something translates for me. It helps a lot. And so the changing of our desires, it happens as a kind of spiritual osmosis. Again, from the heart of the guru to the heart of the disciple. That's the process. Krishna could choose any way to deliver us from this world by bhakti. He chooses always through guru, only through guru. And that means that we have to absorb ourselves like a sponge. Whatever the guru has to give, I need that. I need that. It's not optional. It's necessary for my spiritual life. And to really help facilitate that osmosis in the changing of our desires, the receptivity, there's a wonderful, wonderful hint to what creates that receptivity. And it's just in that word that struck me so deeply all these years ago. Saumya, saumya, a simple, gentle purity. Saumya, simple, gentle, pure. And if we can just think like that, how can I be simple? What would it be? What would be different if I were simple right now? If I were gentle? If I just tried to be pure? Of like Sachinandan Maharaj says, I belong to my spiritual master. I am the property of my spiritual master. He can do whatever he likes with me. That's Saumya. So moving. Then we advance really, really swiftly. Saumya. So I want to take a moment for us to just think about this, to contemplate. You can close your eyes. That will be very... When have you ever felt this quality of Saumya in your own heart? When have you felt this way? That something has entered? What was that like? And what happened as a result? Now, when was the very last time that you felt this quality? Mostly. And lastly, when is the next time that you will feel this quality? Let's make this quality of Saumya our meditation. We can come back together. This is what the Goswami qualified to speak Bhagavatam, as he, in rapt attention because of Saumya, he learned from Shukadev Goswami, and he's able to then share as he realized it. And the Guru wants that for us so badly. Just accept gifts. I remember one Vyasa Puja, it struck me as very intense. Satyananda Maharaj was in an intense mood when he said, "You all have got me gifts. I also have some gifts for you. Are you going to accept them? Are you going to accept what I have to give you?" So the Guru just wants to give us, but we have to remove the blocks. Like he was saying yesterday at the end of the Q&A, and this reminds me of one of my favorite Rumi quotes, "Seek not love." We are seeking prema, but seek not love, seek the walls that we have erected to block it out. That's what's stopping us from the thing that we're seeking. So if we just want what the Guru has, so simple, so powerful, we just have to want it. As we heard, Rupa Goswami says this is really the price. This is the price. Tatra laulyam. Longing, greed, lobha, greed. When someone is giving something to us, they will be very inspired to give it if they feel it will make a difference in our lives, really impact. But if they think we're going to take it casually, it's not inspiring. It's just not inspiring. So there has to be that eagerness. We have to want the gift. And then will empower us to give that to so many people, like Mahaprabhu instructed. All of you become guru. Everyone. Prabhupada also said this. Every one of you become guru. But not because we want to be guru, because we want some position that will make us fail miserably. Then we won't be able to receive the gifts. But because those gifts are so precious, so valuable, that we cannot possibly hoard them. We'll see everybody needs these. Oh my God, it's my duty to pay it forward. I must. And in our own little way, we'll find empowerment from Guru. The process continues, parampara. The father becomes very happy to see the son grow up. It likes to give that metaphor, right? And then take on the responsibility of the father. So if we want to grow up spiritually and be able to do justice to what's being given, we have to be very sincere. If it's about us, whole thing falls apart. Of course, we also have things about us. We're being purified, and we have to be compassionate and forgiving of that and pray. But we have to be sincere. We have to want it not to be us. We have to be vigilant, seeing where is my ego making it about me. And there are constant delusions in my life of seeing my ego showing up. And then, but it's not really me. I don't want it. So that feels very freeing. And then I won't act on it. Because it's not me anyway. I don't want it. This is changing our desires. So there has to be some feeling to that receiving of the gifts of the Guru. We have to become beggars. Really, needy means nobody likes the word needy. Okay, I have needs, yes. Everybody should respect that I have needs. But needy? No. I'm not needy, sorry. No, I just have needs. What does that mean? So we have to actually accept that we're needy. which is very uncomfortable. This is why also Maharaj was pointing out ladies may have an advantage here. Prabhupada also said that. For men, oh, I'm not vulnerable. No, I'm not so emotional, and I'll pick myself up by my bootstraps, and then I'll give credit to Guru Maharaj because I'm a humble devotee. This is difficult. It's difficult for everybody in this material world. We all have a kind of Purusha Abhiman, or the male enjoying, dominating spirit, but it shows up more prominently, more palpably in men. And yeah, we have to go against that. There's no other way. We have to become beggars. We have to see we are needy. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj set this example so profoundly. He wrote a series of books called The Beggar. And what does he do in those books? Just one thing. Guess what? He begs. That's what he does in those books. He begs. And in so doing, he teaches us, oh, Krishna, I need your mercy. Oh, Gurudev, I need your mercy. I'm so fallen. Help me, lift me out of this well. Help me. Mahaprabhu, he was teaching how to become a bhakta in the best way. And he envisioned himself a beggar. And Nityananda Prabhu, he would go from door to door begging, please, please take up Shri Nam, Hari Nam. And please, please, I beg you. It wasn't even for him, begging for us still, but also the advanced devotees. They will beg for themselves because they don't think they're advanced. They think they always are dependent. That's the difference. We think we're like Krishna, Svatantra, independent. We're not. We're fully dependent on Krishna. We have a particle of independence because we're part and parcel of him, but we mistake that to be that it's not. Really, our only independence is our desire. And when we choose to align our desires with Krishna, and that means with Guru, that's the use of our independence. That's the proper use of our independence. It's what it's given for. Of course, because we also choose love, cannot be forced. I'm also reminded of a very lovely experience that Bhanunandani had shared last year here in the Guru Smaranam, and I believe you also wrote about in the Vyasa Puja offering last year, that Sachinandan Maharaj was, I won't tell the whole thing, I'll just give the punchline. He told one Rajavasi lady or one pilgrim who was at a temple, I'm just a beggar for prema. I'm just a beggar for prema. And when he says it, he means it. We can't imitate this, but it's very inspiring. And in my own experience of Vrindavan, I just had come from Vrindavan before coming here. I spent a few days in Frankfurt and came here. And each time I've been 5 separate occasions, and each time I think it's best when I feel more like a beggar, like Krishna. I'm here with my begging bowl, and I'm just collecting blessings from Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, Bhugarbha Goswami, and so on. Prabhupada, please, 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 all of your followers, the Samadhis there at Krishna Balaram. Oh, it's amazing, amazing when we can enter the mood of being a beggar. We feel like we're being filled up. I've experienced. But it takes that shift, that attitude adjustment, Maharaj said. Otherwise, we're just kind of on the outside. We're at the shallow end of the pool, and that's not where we want to stay. So we really want the perspective that Guru has. We have to think, as Krishna Prabhu was saying earlier, I don't want to see with my eyes anymore. Like Bhakti Siddhanta would say, what do I see anyway? Bilva Mangal Thakur, he did something extreme because of that. What can these eyes see? But Bhakti Siddhanta would say, what will you see of the deity? We want the deity to see you. We want to develop divine eyes. Premanjana charita bhakti vochanena. The salve, the ointment of love of God has to anoint our eyes, has to really cover our present vision, cover the real vision. And then it's amazing. So the guru's perspective comes to us when we don't want our limited perspective anymore. We say, I'm done with this. When we beg him for his perspective, for his vision, when we want to see everything through his eyes, not ours, that's when everything shifts. And we activate the relationship with Guru by that feeling of, please, I need. Like our acharyas pray, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur especially, oh, hey Gurudev, hey Vaishnava Thakur, oh Gurudev, please help me, give me your mercy. Don't kick me away. Don't kick me away. Goswami says, I require the walking stick, your mercy. That will be my support on this path. How do we get from Shraddha to Prema? By the walking stick of the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Who is the prime focus amongst the Vaishnavas? The Guru, who has taken responsibility for our spiritual life, who has personally promised to take us back with him. So that's the need. The need is to need. In my own life, I can see my changing desires and I can marvel at them. Because when I first met Sachinandan Maharaj in 2006, 19 years ago, so young, like a boy practically, I thought I was happy in the material world. I thought things are good. I'm going to make it big in my film career. People are going to love me and I'm going to have so much worth and I'm going to leave a lasting legacy. I mean, I tell you the heaviness of my own conditioning is very amazing, what I'm up against. Some of my earliest memories are hearing the name Shakespeare and thinking, I got to be like that guy. Because that person's remembered. And if I just live here and nobody remembered that I was on this planet, then I'll have wasted my life. That's how I thought, as like a tiny, tiny child, first conscious memories. So there's a lot of momentum that comes with that. And when I first met Sachinandan Maharaj in 2006, just after graduating from New York University Film School, I was very much in that mindset. I'll pave my career. I have really good friends. I have heart-to-heart connections. I'm fortunate in some ways, not the real fortune, but some good things of the material world were there. I had a good upbringing, good parents, felt emotionally stable and pretty happy on the surface at least. But then he got me in touch, first Rabnath Maharaj, a couple months before Sachinandan Maharaj, and Sachinandan Maharaj, and they got me in touch with the wellspring of suffering that I had turned a blind eye to. I didn't want to see. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. In fact, everything that's making me happy right now is only a suffering. And to try to get out of that, oh, so much suffering. It's, yeah, my path is not an easy one, but I felt so much grace and so much encouragement. And I remember thinking when I saw Sachinandan Maharaj, again, first Ramnath Maharaj, thinking, wow, you can become like that? I didn't know that was possible. That's a trip. And then Sachinandan Maharaj, oh my God, there are more of them? What? Wait, this is like a real thing? This wasn't some like anomaly, some kind of mistake in the cosmic system, glitch in the matrix? This is real and you can become like that? There's a path to become like that? It blew my mind. It was very scary because then I was thinking, oh, that seems like then we're supposed to become like that. What I'm doing right now is nonsense. It's not so good. So I wanted to really walk away from all of this, but I thought if I want to be authentic and by some grace, I did want to be authentic. And my friends, and this became proven later on, I knew that my friends think, oh, okay, they're nice people. Very good. And then, I'll go about my life. It's nice to meet some nice people. But something in me said, no, everything that they stand for crashes against my paradigm. And so there's not even any place for them to exist. Like in my worldview, you can't be that selfless. It's possible. That's a myth. It's a myth. So I saw, well, but it's real. It's not a myth. So there must be either something that I'm not seeing about them, or there's something I'm not seeing about me and my worldview, and I have to know which it is. If I want to be authentic, I have to know, is there something wrong with them, or is there something wrong with me? And I was secretly hoping that it was wrong with them. Didn't work out so well. I was following Radhanath Maharaj around to every program. I jumped in a van with a bunch of strange monks to Washington, D.C. from New York, all just to try to find the chink in his armor. I mean, it wasn't only for that. I was inspired, I will say. I was very inspired. But there was that big part of me that was like, yeah, then I'll also find out that I don't have to really do this. Didn't work. So here I am. But seeing their purity, seeing that Samya quality in these amazing gurus, it made possible what was previously impossible and not even a thought. Desires change in contact with the Vaishnavas. When their desires, which are so attractive, hit a receptive heart, and I had that little bit of receptivity, little bit. I wasn't a full-on atheist, I was almost. But I had some desire to know what's the truth and to be authentic in the way that I lived my life. And it saved my life. So the contact between the pure desires of the sadhus and a receptive heart, that creates a conflagration, a great blazing fire of new desire. And that fire grows and grows the more receptive we become. So as I was starting to see the fallacy in everything revolving around me and getting what I want and having all kinds of, I don't even want to tell you all my desires, why it's not nice. But having all of these material desires, I'll live such a great, happy life. I'll get everything I want. And I'm remembered for it, because I'll have done great things for the world and be lauded for it. Seeing that is not really serving me, and seeing that the way they are is much better for me and is so beautiful. It's so touching, actually. It moved me deeply. And then the Hridaya Mandir starts to show a little bit more of a sign of life. Something is there. Oh, there's a home for what they have to give. Maybe I can start to receive more and more. And I became a brahmachari as a result, which was radical. It was radical for my parents, and even more radical for me. I remember writing to Satchidananda Maharaj in 2007. I went to Vrindavan, and I had such a crisis thinking about my own spiritual journey. How will I get to prema? I want to be where there's full bhakti all the time. I want to just be immersed in it, swimming in it. But I'm so selfish, and so there's so much karmic momentum in terms of I've operated to this point, and I'm so uncultured that I won't fit in to that world. That's like trying to fit into the spiritual world. I won't fit in. I can't do it. And yet I feel called to do it. So what do? Satchidananda Maharaj, clear what I need to do, but saying, how will I not be afraid? This was like the surrender, but with the fear. I knew what I needed to do, so I was intent on doing it. But I wrote him about my fear. How do I deal with the fear? He wrote me back such a lovely, impactful letter. He said, you have to observe the lesson of the kyang. Anybody know what kyang are? I didn't know at the time. These, I think, Tibetan antelope. and they leap great heights. It's quite miraculous. And they land very gracefully. And yet, there are occasions where sometimes one does not land gracefully, and that is very terrible. And why does that happen? Because they looked down. So he said, don't look down. Don't look down. And that continues to motivate me, that I have so many fears. How will I make it? I'm not qualified. I'm so bad in my attentiveness, and yet, okay, that's just the covering. Don't look into the abyss of that covering. Just try to remove whatever you can. Try to see the coverings so they're not just covering you on autopilot. You have to do that. But make that your whole world. You are not your coverings. Don't look down. And I found that increasingly the connection with Guru shows new facets. And one highlight is in 2016, when I felt tricked by Sachi Maharaj to go to Sadhu Sangha in North Carolina, this Kirtan festival, because I was only going for him, to see him there when he would travel to the US. And then his visa was blocked. And this was also right at the time when I was about like a week later, I was going to have my engagement ceremony with my wife now. And this was the equivalent of our wedding in New York. So we were going to have a wedding in Toronto, where she's from, and then engagement ceremony in New York. And this was like the New York wedding. So I was like, I don't even have the time there's no way that I can do this, but I can't not see him if he's coming to the US this year. So I came, and then he didn't come because his visa was not granted. Going to Iran caused some problem. And I was devastated, and I felt tricked by Krishna, but I also knew that he tricked me for a reason. I knew immediately. It didn't take long. I consider that also Maharaj's grace, that I knew immediately. Oh yeah, Guru wants me to get absorbed in kirtan anyway. He doesn't want it to be dependent on his vapu, his physical presence. He wants me to be absorbed in kirtan, whether he's there or not. So then at that point, I resolved that each year I will try to make it happen, or be absorbed in kirtan, whether he's there or not. And in that experience, it was quite something. He really took responsibility for those who had come to see him, especially. And he sent a letter that was quoting a letter from Srila Prabhupada when his disciples were, I think he had left for San Francisco, if I remember correctly. And the New York devotees, or maybe he was leaving from San Francisco, and the San Francisco devotees were feeling great pain. I can't remember which. But this is where he says, you're feeling great separation from me, and I am feeling great separation from you. But if you are chanting there and I am chanting here, then we will be packed up together. Packed up together. And I've made me very emotional. And I love what Satchidananda Maharaj did from there, which is the best thing that he does. This is the waking up, the disrupting us from our dream. So is this a polite formality? Is this something Srila Prabhupada is because it's the right thing to say, or something we subscribe to philosophically, right? Yes, of course. That's in the ultimate sense, yes. We're packed up together. Can I experience that? No. Do I really care about that? Kind of. Yeah, it's because I believe it must be true if he said it. But do we really believe? Do we really have that faith? And so I took that on. I took it on, and I thought, yes, I want to really experience that my guru and I, we're packed up together. And the amazing thing was that I felt more his presence during that entire festival than I felt any other year prior or subsequently when he was physically. I really felt this. And it was so powerful that I said, I will not doubt this anymore. And now I have to really, I've always wanted to, and I've expressed that the relationship has to change to be more about Vani and more about living in concert with the Guru's desires, living the teaching. But that was a big boost for me. And I continue to see the evolution becoming more and more of a beggar for my Guru's teachings, my Guru's blessings. The spiritual journey has become real by his grace, and I am extremely grateful. And I want for everyone to feel encouraged in our relationship with the Guru, that the desires will come into our hearts, his desires, his perspective. And with that, prema bhakti will come in the not too distant future. I'm speaking beyond my realization, but in principle, because of realization that has come. Prema bhakti will be there because everything has gotten us to this point, and that has been for real. So why would it suddenly drop off? Everything that has been said is for real to this point. That must mean that past this point, it will also be real. And what the Guru comes to give can be experienced. Prema, it can be experienced. And we get little glimpses to encourage us, but it requires receptivity, sense of need. I need what my Guru is giving. Please, I want your perspective, not mine. Thank you. Just as we come to a close, I want to make one request of you. So I shared something about my journey. There's obviously so much that can be said for each of us about our own journeys, but I've shared something about mine in changing desires to really fit into the spiritual world and not this crazy world of people that don't like Krishna. And my request of each of you is, please, today, find someone that you trust and tell something. You don't have to spend hours. Tell something your journey in changing your desires. Tell something about your journey of changing your desires. Please do this. It's so faith-giving, and it's so much offering gratitude to the Guru. You can take stock of what's already been given. What you appreciate appreciates. If you truly appreciate and you share in a heartfelt way, so much more mercy comes. And then, not just what has your journey been to this point in changing your desires, where does it go from here? And what will you do now to help you get there? So you probably want to put a little thought into this. Where does it go from here, and what will you do now to help you get there? What is that one thing that you're going to do to help facilitate the Guru-disciple relationship, that eagerness to hear, cultivating saumya to receive what the Guru has? What do you do? Thank you. I think we have time for maybe one question. Oh, Bhanananda. I saw also Krishna Murari Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prasad, for this wonderful, wonderful class. And it's very inspiring. So my question is, thy will be done. And as a soul, sometimes we feel, as on our soul's journey, we need to do a jump, or like we need to develop into a next step, so to say, but we fear that moment so much, even though we know it's going to be beautiful, Krishna loves us, the Guru wants it, but what do we do with that fear which is blocking us?
I have the same question, Vananandani. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, what do we do with that fear that's blocking us from taking our next step? I think it requires a lot of prayer, and then the confidence that we will be heard. I think without the confidence that we'll be heard, we tend to get absorbed in our mind, and then the anxiety sort of ratchets up, and then it's very difficult to receive So it becomes sort of a contradiction in terms. We're praying to receive something while we're blocking the response. So to get out of our mental world is really important. It's not easy. I'm not great at this, but I have a little experience that when we pray with the sense that I'm being heard, Krishna is very merciful and Guru is very merciful. And we can pray to both. And if you pray to one, you're praying to the other anyway. They're linked very intimately. So I think it's about prayer, and then we can't do without counsel also. We need people who see us, who understand us, who love us, who have a heart connection with us and can help us to take our steps and to work through the fear. Because on our own, it's not possible. No one has ever done it on their own. It's never worked. And we need loving God. We need friends who can play the role of guides. We need guidance. There's no substitute. And the sense of camaraderie and being understood and felt and heard. And Krishna's mercy comes through the medium of the Vaishnavas in that way. It's very powerful. I've seen this time and again. I really have a lot of conviction in that. So prayer and counsel, but you have to make yourself vulnerable. There's no other way. And then you have to also, as Maharaj said yesterday, of course it has to resonate with you at heart. You can't take on something that doesn't resonate at heart. That will cause problems. But you also have to see that I'm choosing the right person, and when I choose the right person, that person's Krishna's representative, and I take it casually, it'll be a casual experience. But if I take it really that Krishna is speaking to me through this person, amazing things happen. Hope that helps. Thank you. Maybe just Krishna Murari will close.
Yeah, I see. Okay. You said there was time for one question, then I will offer acknowledgement instead. I feel like I'm sure I speak for everyone in that the right person was chosen to represent this topic, that you so brilliantly and wonderfully embody the quality of Somya as a disciple. And when you first came in and then I saw class was being set up and you were going to sit on the guru's seat, and my envious nature is like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I could really see you were empowered to represent our master so amazingly and have addressed so many of the needs that I didn't even realize that I was struggling blindly in the dark, and the clarity both with body and speak on the subject brought that helped me recognize the need and know what to do about it. So thank you very much.
It makes me very emotional. It's spoken like a true sadhu who's non-envious, and I feel a fraud sitting here, but I feel also a calling in the service of my spiritual master, and it's a wonderful opportunity to get to serve you. So thank you very much. Thank you to everybody. I'm so grateful, and wishing all the very best. Don't forget about the request. Please tell your journey and where it goes from here, what you're going to do. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Varahadev ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Krishna devotees, I also wanted to express my gratitude to Hari Prasad Prabhu's lecture, but I think if I do it from my heart, he might melt. We'll stop with what Krishna Murari was saying. But thank you very much for this beautiful delivery and so maturely off and really able to address the needs of the audience, especially with this point of being needy and to be able to become real beggars. To me was like really very beautiful, and we remember to share during the day with someone about how desire were changed, huh? How did I understand right?
Yeah.
For today, the program is relaxed, but still there. We have at 12 o'clock, we will start with Bhajan, and we have Shamananda who will leave shortly after the Bhajan. We'll sing today from 12 to 1. And then we have the Sunday Feast program starting. We will have 1 hour Bhajan. This is from the Goloka Sound, the group from Goloka Dham will sing. And then we have Bhagavad Dharma who will give a lecture on Lord Nityananda and his associates. We come closer to Nityananda.